Path of Exile is an action RPG and it's developed by Grinding Gear Games, a fairly small New Zealand based developer. If you want to get your hands on this, it is in open beta, so you can go right ahead, it doesn't cost you anything, it's currently free. The environment in Path of Exile is actually really good. They make it feel dark and gritty and not like you want to be there, you don't have a choice, that's the essence of the story. The player models are pretty good for the most part. They haven't changed much since it was in beta. They've mostly worked on spell effects and things like that, but I will just list what is good and what isn't good. So the actual environment you walk around in is pretty good. I wish I had more randomization in the levels, but that's neither here nor there, it's only a small company. Player models are good, spell effects are good, weapon models are really good actually, there's a lot of variance there. Mob models, creature models, are not as good because I wish there was more variety, but nevertheless the animation quality is very good across the board for everything. I just wish there was more creature models. One thing I always look out for in a pretty decent game is the sound assets, and Path of Exile does not really disappoint in this respect. It's got some really good music that sets the scene, and for each area quite aptly. There are a few places where music is repeated, the same soundtrack. I actually don't know if this is deliberate, because I actually feel in some areas it may be deliberate. Which is good actually, it makes the environment just feel so much better. The thing with Rayclast is it's supposed to be this horrifying continent and you're supposed to fear it and things like that, and the if it was by itself and there was no music, probably wouldn't be as fearful as I am with this, you know, like pounding, like slow orchestral music in the background, and just all the other sound assets like the weapon swings, the monster noises, the skill noises, and even the voice acting. The voice acting is actually pretty good, to say the game is, I would probably call it an indie game, but yeah, the voice acting is really good, and it's nice to see that the NPCs actually have some sort of interesting dialogue, and they're actually working on adding more. One thing I really like is the talent tree system, and as you can probably see on the screen right now, there is a massive talent tree, and this is like a global talent tree that you can share regardless of your class. It just determines where you start on it, and I think it's really interesting because I like being able to, for example, pick something like one of the classes, which is a Templar. You don't really have anything to stop you from fighting with bows or going dual wield or carrying a shield or, you know, becoming a magic user. You can pretty much do anything. You can get to anywhere, provided you pick the right path. Now, one thing about the skill tree which I find quite interesting is also the fact that you can't really respec your skills that easily. You need either orbs of regret or to get them from quests. And I actually prefer this because it means you have to make a more conscious choice about where you want your character to head, instead of just, you know, going for, I mean, well, you can go for a bit of everything if you want, but it stops people from going for like a safe bet. You know, once you go down a route, it's very hard to get back out of it, and it sort of forces players to live with the choices they make. I really like that. I think it goes really well with the whole setting of the game, you know, sort of you make a choice, you have to stick with it. And yeah, I just think that fits really well. I don't know if that was deliberate, but it's got just a really cool feel that works so well with the actual sort of like line of the game. The loot system is quite interesting. There's sort of like a pseudo economy. You don't have currency or anything like that like you do in World of Warcraft or, you know, Diablo 3 for that. There's no fixed price for stuff. Gold is non-existent. You use orbs and they have different varying properties, and the ones that are better are obviously more rarer and they are more coveted. So, you know, if you had one of these orbs and just happened to stumble upon it, you'd probably get a really good deal from other players. That being said, I really like the fact you can actually barter with people. You know, everyone places different value on different, you know, orbs and things depending on what they want, so it's really nice to see that you can actually look around and try and get the best deal for stuff. And there's actually a channel that you can do that in called Trade, so that's really good. Endgame Path of Exile is pretty interesting. You can go for PvP if you would like to. You can replay the game on harder difficulties. You can farm these things called maps, and they are really your end game. You know, I'm going to really go for the loot sort of scenarios. They allow you to modify stats on things and make the game really challenging in certain areas, and I really like it. How long it could eventually keep me interested for, I don't know, because I haven't reached the end game. But I'm really hoping that it's something that they continue to work on and make absolutely great. With all this being said, I absolutely love Path of Exile. To say it's a free game, it's not pay to win, everything you buy is cosmetic. I would wholeheartedly recommend supporting the developer on this one. It's great, I can't wait to see what they do in the future. I would give Path of Exile a thumbs up.